every one of us encounters things which evoke a stronger response in us than they probably should. And I was recently discussing one of mine, and this is when someone is visibly angry, and you see it in their facial expression, their body language, their tone of voice, and yet they tell me, I'm fine. And I really hate this because to me it feels like they're basically saying, well, I'm pissed off with you, but I'm not going to tell you why I'm pissed off with you because I expect you to spend all your time and energy trying to read my mind or going over everything you've said and everything you've done to try to work it out, because I want to hold the power and I don't want to give you the decency of communicating in an open way. I wanted to explore why I felt like this. When I was a child and for my early adulthood, I lived with my parents and I was materially completely taken care of. I didn't have anything to worry about. However, the atmosphere at home wasn't so great. My parents would scream at each other all the time and scream at me, and when I got any sort of frustration or I just felt like I wanted to escape from this crazy reality TV show which I could not exit because I was a kid or because I couldn't afford to live on my own yet and because I was in education, I was told that I had an attitude problem. And I really loved my family and I didn't want to have an attitude problem, so I began to search deep inside myself to try to figure out where I'm going wrong, in what way am I broken, because there's some mystery which I can't understand, but the people who I trust are telling me that there's something wrong with me. And this behavior, this pattern followed me into adulthood, into relationships where the same patterns were used to manipulate me. And now that I'm more self-aware, I don't want to do this anymore. It's not a game that I want to play. So when someone is doing one thing and saying another, I just feel like I don't want to play this game. However, there's another side to this. What if the people who say that they're fine are simply dealing with their own trauma where they didn't feel like they were comfortable to say what was on their mind? I mean, I kind of did this myself in that I didn't act angry and say I'm fine. I acted angry when I was angry, but sometimes I just prevented myself from feeling anger and I just locked everything up inside and I was full of stress and full of tension. But I would smile, my mind would be clear, but inside I was having this adrenal response and I honestly felt fine, but I didn't feel like I was lying, you know? The psychological definition of a trigger is something which evokes in us a response to our own trauma rather than to the event itself. So that when we react, we're not reacting to the thing happening in the here and now, but something that happened in our past, or a series of events that happened in our past, or a feeling, a general atmosphere that we carried with us for so long. And I now understand that when I get really turned off, when I get really repelled by this saying, I'm fine, it's because I still carry in myself some trauma and I'm learning to deal with this. To have a trigger is not to expect everyone else to change their behavior to suit us. But at the same time, we can choose relationships which are best for us. We can choose to be close to people who we are most compatible with. In all psychological tests, I score very highly in terms of openness, and so I would not be a good fit for someone who scores very low in the same criteria. So as we become more aware of our own reactions and the history which shaped them, we can become more compassionate to ourselves. We can forgive ourselves for the things that we thought were faults in ourselves and understand that they are reactions defensive reactions which are meant to keep us safe. And then we can also realize that other people are doing exactly the same thing.